What's good, y'all? It's your boy Jayson Jamaal Jackson, and I'm here on Unity TV. All right, so if we're gonna do from the beginning, the first project was in 2010, and that was Mr. Infinity's Welcome to Pluto. I produced like 9 out of 10 tracks, and then one of the tracks is produced by Johnny Giuliano. So for anybody that's like my age and know about Johnny Giuliano, yo, he had the free beats before he started charging. So that was back then, and then after that we had Last Son of Pluto, which was the follow-up to that one, and that was released in 2014. And then 2 years later was the start of Antisocial, and the Antisocial trilogy was stretched out all the way up until 2019. I released Antisocial 2 in 2018, and in the following year Antisocial 3. So that's about 5 projects so far. And then we have the album coming up, Memoirs of a Hopeless Romantic. That's pretty much what I've been doing. And then I have like not a secret mixtape, but I dropped like a beat tape called The In Between. That's on SoundCloud, but that was like a while ago. But that's not official. That's just like a loose leaf, if y'all want to check that out.
Hey. Wait a minute. Come on. Wait a minute. Hold up. I got bars. Yo. Shake me out. Go on it. Running like a cheetah. Got my hoodie on. Got confused with the reaper. Running past these white girls that catching jungle fever. Was atheist. I made it a believer. Northtown general salute me when you see the stars. You see the sweat on my brow. That means I'm working hard. Yeah, you lanes a head start. Now I'm catching up. Got a looking face when I pass you up.
It's been a journey from 2010 to now. That's like 10 years. So a lot of life, a lot of things went down in between all those projects. I wish I didn't space them out the way I did, but everything kind of worked out perfectly in that way. You know, I had a lot of growing to do as an MC, as a rapper, as a producer, as a songwriter. Because I started writing songs when I was like 16. And it all kind of started because it was this girl that I was dating at the time, and I got sprung. You know what I'm saying? I was first time on the South Side. You know, I'm going to Reagan. I ain't never seen a Puerto Rican girl in my life. And she hit me with this energy where it was just like infectious, to the point where like I was on some Prince Apollonia shit. You know what I'm saying? And so when she broke up with me, that shit hit hard. And I was thinking of Purple Rain. I remember driving home with my mom, and I told her, I was like, yo, I'm about to make a song. I'm about to start songwriting. I'm about to make a song and like make her cry like Prince Apollonia in that scene in the movie. And my mom laughed it off, but I immediately went home. My brother had like this toy piano, and I didn't know what I was doing. And out of nowhere, I was just kind of just figuring out what sounded right and put together like my first song. And so that's just how I started. And then my senior year is when I got into producing. And that's when I met Emmett James. He was Emmett Williams then. And that's when I met Genesis Renji, back when he was just Genesis. And we formed Mixtape Mafia, which was short-lived, but we were really groundbreaking in what we were doing, because a lot of people came out of that. Besides me, Emmett, and Jen, you have some producers that are well known in Milwaukee, like Golden Child came out of that. This other rapper came out of that too. Shouts to him, I can't think of your name right now, but Coach East, yeah, he came out of that too. So we had a big crew, and everybody's kind of doing their own thing now, but that's where it started. And, you know, now I'm at a place where I've kind of mastered my craft. And honestly, when Antisocial, the first one, I was in Madison at the time. I think there was some friends that were doing some risque stuff. I was on the scene. I was doing everything. It was like my 60s, 2016. Like Drake prophesied that 2016 was gonna be lit, and it was. I was doing everything from Molly to acid to weed. I was doing everything. So when I was in the midst of doing all that, I was really getting a sense of confidence in who Jayson Jamaal Jackson was. So this was kind of like the first steps of me kind of really just being like, you know, I don't care if people don't really feel what I'm doing. I'm about to just do it. So I linked up with a friend of mine who's a really great producer. He's from Chicago. Looney is Normal. He did the production, and he didn't even know he was putting together a project with me. I kind of snuck and kind of did it. So he was putting out these beats on SoundCloud, and I would hear him, and I'm just like, yo, this shit's so crazy. Like, I could do anything. I was immediately freestyling to him, because at the time I was listening to a lot of MF Doom, and I was listening to his Special Herb tape 0 to 9. For those who are the real ones that know how to like rap and freestyle and all that, y'all know what I'm talking about. So I was listening to that freestyle, and so when I heard his stuff, it gave me that vibe. So I was like, yo. let me get that one. Let me get that one. And he was like, yo, send them to me. Just send them to me. And he didn't even know I didn't even know. But I was just kind of making songs or writing stuff to it. And before I know it, Antisocial came about. And so we recorded it. And I was trying to get to a place where, I could, elevate my music career. So me and my friends was trying to like really fake it till we make it. So I did like a whole release party for it and went to had a rooftop party that I went to try to, mingle with the little, snobby people. And I met London Divine there one time and that happened. And then life just kind of hit rock bottom. So like I had a situation with a baby mama, she almost got me, just kidding, but we had a situation where things didn't work out, but she ended up being pregnant, and due to disagreements between me and her, she decided she didn't want the kid anymore. So that threw me into a very, 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 very deep depression, to the point where I didn't even want to make music anymore. So the whole idea of J Jam Jack was just kind of on the shelf. I was just Jayson at this point, just trying to figure my life out and what I wanted to do. So I went from, living with my brother in Colorado after I left Madison to settling down for like a couple years back home in my mom's homeland of like Gary, Indiana. Shouts to the GI. And I was just trying to figure out who I wanted to be, what I wanted to do. And I just got to a point where I was like, you know what? One last time. That's when Antisocial 2 came out. So then it was just like I went from producing in a normal studio to now, I'm producing off my phone because it was just that hard for me. I was just like, yo, I have to create, but I wanted to create my own sound. So every day I would just approach producing like this. I was like, you know what? I'd open it up, put something together, fool around with something until something came up. And I was really trying to tune into, for Antisocial 2, trying to tune into like the drums. I was that kid at church that would be, while everybody's praising and worshiping and hooting and hollering and falling out, I'm looking at the drummer. That's who I'm looking at. Because whatever he was doing, he was like totally independent of whatever everything else was going on. He doing drum fills and all this other stuff, and then a drumstick break, he boom, grabbing another one out. Like I was enamored by the drummer. So when I produce, I want to create the same feel that a percussionist would bring to an ensemble, to an orchestra. That type of rambunctious, rebellious feeling that would make you move. Make you move even if you don't want to, just get you going. So that's what Antisocial 2 was, and it was just kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna try this again. I don't know if it's gonna work this time, but I'm doing it for the love of the music. So that's where that came from. And then the following year, like literally not even months after I released Antisocial 2, I moved back to Milwaukee because I saw a lot of my friends, a lot of people I went to school with and grew up with, entrepreneurs, the producers, musicians, makeup artists, all type of different people, and I saw that we were actually coming into our own as, people from Milwaukee, people from MKE, people from the north side of Milwaukee, south side, east side, wherever you're from. We're starting to build an identity even now. So I was like, I got to be a part of that. So I came back, and as soon as I came back, songs started hitting me. And then next thing you know, I was like, maybe we should finish Antisocial series. So Antisocial 3 came about. And when that started to hit, I was really trying to invoke what it is to be in a realization, have an epiphany within your depression. Like, oh, snap, I'm depressed. So now that I know that I'm depressed, do I stay in this depression or do I try to come out on the other side of it? So Antisocial 1 and 2 led up to Antisocial 3, where I'm coming out of the end of my maturation as a man. Because, I grew up without a father in the household. So when you grow up without a father, as a man, you have to figure out what the heck that is, and then you have to try to live up to it. You have to set up your own expectations for yourself. Because in the world that we live in, whether you're a man, woman, or anything in between, when you get to be an adult, like all the guidelines, all the rules, they just get thrown out the window. You're on your own. You got to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So that was all encapsulated in the songs that I was writing and the projects that I put together. So Antisocial 3 being a trilogy was really just an act of the universe. Like I had no intentions of even doing a trilogy, but I'm glad that it exists. Alright, so Memoirs of a Hopeless Romantic, more for short. That's a very ancient idea. That came from sophomore year. I was in the midst of songwriting, and I just got really excited because I was learning how to play piano with both hands and not look down. So I was like, yo, I'm gonna come up with all these dope ass concepts for future projects, and Memoirs of a Hopeless Romantic was something that came about because at the time I was learning history and that there was a romantic period of history before World War I. And I never thought of romanticism or like the word romantic outside of like lovey-dovey, romantic comedies. I thought it was just like, pick the pew, sing a song or something like that. I thought that's what romantic meant, but I later learned that romanticism is when you kind of like look at an idea or a piece of time through like rose-colored lenses. Like you fantasize and you enamor it to a point where that may not even be the norm anymore. So like how a man is supposed to open a door for a woman to be chivalrous, that's a romantic idea. For you to, sing about the love that you share for another person, that's a romantic idea. For you to, the concept of friendship and camaraderie and brotherhood, that's a romantic idea. Something that is thought about in such an elevated way that it has an optimistic view of it. But I also want to flip that on its head and just kind of talk about just life and how we romanticize life and just the different things that I've been through, and just kind of hitting it from an approach of, this is music that, I have some love songs, I have some songs about, sex or whatever the case may be, but I also have songs that talk about how I see life in a romantic way and even just the faults in that. I made it out of a dark place in my life, but I haven't forgot about you. This is how you can make it out, and this is how it feels to be on the other side of that conflict, on the other side of that pain, on the other side of that depression, on the other side of that anxiety. Mental health is a very serious thing to me, and that's something I bring across in Memoirs of a Hopeless Romantic as well, because I deal with anxiety, I deal with depression at times. And when you're going through life and you're just trying to make it and you're just trying to get from point A to point B, sometimes you put your emotions on a shelf, and before long you got a shelf full of emotions, and one thing can really knock everything out of whack, and now you're experiencing all these emotions tenfold because you didn't deal with them. That's what this album is for. If I had to call the name of this genre that I'm forming now, I would have to say I don't know. I would say it's hip hop fusion. I would say that. We'll keep it at that. That's an easy way to say it. So like hip hop fusion. Until I come up with something better, that might just be what it is. But my music is not hip hop at all. I've even had times trying to struggle of how I'm going to package Memoirs of a Hopeless Romantic, because the things that I'm doing is an amalgamation of like everything that I listen to. Like I don't just listen to V100. I'm listening to the Gorillas. I'm listening to this one lady named Peggy Gao. She's a dope DJ from Germany. I'm listening to MF Doom, as I said before. Just different people, different sounds. John Mayer. Like I'm listening to just Pat Benatar. Like I'm listening to music from the 80s, the 70s, the 60s. Like really drawn from all different places, trying to find different ways to in a better sense, invoke that spirit that you get when you're at a concert. You know what I'm saying? I want to give y'all that experience. Like my ultimate goal with this music is to get to the festival circuit. So that way I can have a Woodstock experience where, everybody in unison is coming together, and we're not just singing these songs because it's popular or it's something to do, but we feel and we feel in the songs. When you go back and listen to it, whether you listen to it in chronological order or just out of sync, I want you to know that like all these songs are like my horcruxes. Like my soul is in these songs. Like if I could do alchemy and take a piece of my soul out of my chest and put it in the music, that's what I did for you guys. So there's no song that's wasted or no song that's made for the club or for, a certain brand of people. This is all me just stepping out on the abyss and trying to do what Quincy Jones did back in the 80s for Mike, or what, Puff Daddy did for the 90s with, Biggie and Mary J. Blige, or Outkast do for the South. I'm trying to innovate for us. I want to show people from Milwaukee that, you can make whatever you want. Just do it to the best of your ability and really give people, like, what you want them to have. Because, like, we don't have a lot of time on this earth, and so we got to give people our best while we're here. So when they come to a Jam Jack show, they're not only going to get a great show, because I'm going to go all out and I'm going to perform to my best ability, but I want them to be able to have that experience and connection to that music for a lifetime. Like, whenever they listen to it, it's like, I remember when I heard this song, I was here, I was doing this song made me feel this way, this song made me feel that way. Like, I want that type of connection. And that, to me, is better than any Grammy or award that I could ever receive for my music. Like, just making that connection with the fans, to let them know, like, you're not alone in what you're going through. And honestly, we're all trying to get through it, in our own ways, and it's okay to be human. It's okay to struggle. But you can rise above it. You just have to try. I'm really excited to kind of show the people and show you guys what's going on with me and how I've come to master my own sound. And hopefully you guys can do the same. I first want to start by thanking Daniel Upchurch. He was a senior that I went to Reagan with when I was a freshman, and he was really good at singing, really good at piano. He was like the son of a pastor, and like the thing that he showed me how to do that helps me even now when it comes to songwriting is learning how to riff, just freestyling, just coming up with a song. Just sing about what's inside. And he would just sit next to me on the piano, and he's like, just sing, Jay. Just, what I'm saying? Don't think about it too hard, just sing. Whatever comes out, it will come out. And that's what helped me be able to dig deep when I make these songs and I write these certain lyrics and I talk about certain things. It taught me to be able to look, okay, dig deep. What is it that I want to talk about? Daniel Church was one of those people that helped me dig deep in that. Another person I want to thank that really helped me was Jen. I have to say that. Genesis Renji came into my life at a time where I went from being just a songwriter to being a producer. And so, I learned a lot about how to even be a recording artist, how to record and just, being just as precise as making sure I have a pop filter and I pronunciate my words, so when I rap I don't mumble. You hear exactly what I'm going to say, and actually having the ability to really lock in the studio and being there for 4+ hours, putting together something. Like, I thank him for that, even though me and him have been at odds throughout the years and probably never see each other unless we collab. That door is open, but he definitely helped me with that. And last but not least, because there's a lot of people that have helped, my music teacher, Mr. Murphy, he came my senior year as well, and he turned the practice piano rooms into studios and started a whole curriculum about music theory and how to actually work on like DAWs, like digital audio workstations. Like, so I was learning about Pro Tools and Mixcraft 5 in high school. Really, like, that sparked the fire. And if he didn't come into the school and believe in us like that, to let us do that, I wouldn't be Jam Jack. Jam Jack wouldn't exist. So shout outs to Mr. Murphy for calling me, Emmy James, and Genesis Renji on stage for our first ever performance. We performed in front of 500 kids at our school after Fire and the Soul. Shout outs to Fire and the Soul if y'all still making music. And they had my production up, and we really got the chance to perform. And that none of that would have been possible without him. So shout outs to you.